Director Hollybush, I would say that questions about what happened in executive session are not appropriate, but if you have any other comments you would like to make, we would certainly.
And I will say it is not an attempt to keep anyone off, but there are other things that are in consideration that cannot be talked about outside of the executive session.
Questions about what happened in executive session.
All right, I have no further comments at this time.
If there are no other comments, we'll move on then to the approval of the minutes of the October 14th, 2020 meeting. And I believe there was a motion made by Commissioner Brewer, Director Brewer.
That's correct.
So there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? If not, would you call the roll, please, Taronda?
Brewer,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Cogburn.
Yes.
The motion carries 3-0.
Okay, next on the agenda is the sales agency, and I know I saw Drew. I don't know
I
if
see
Mike is here too, so I don't know which one of you guys is up, but whichever one, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Happy New Year to everybody. Goodbye 2020. Mike and Krista will take you through some of those, through kind of the analytic report that we give, which will kind of show the activity for the year, kind of the year-end report. But I just want to help give a little context as we, before we get into that. And one of the things we've talked about before is, it really comes down right to, collections. And so we know that this has been a tough year for every agency, but compared, kind of just for context, compared to the state, January through October, as reported in the Arkansas Tourism Ticker, collections for Arkansas's 2% statewide tourism tax decreased 23%. Texarkana for this same time period was down 8%. El Dorado was down 36%, Fort Smith down 31%, Jonesboro 18%, Rogers 55%, and others. And I believe that tourism report got shared with the commission, but I think that's always kind of good to gauge how you're doing with your fellow A&Ps. Though of course we'd always like to report that year-over-year collections are up. We know that, as we saw obviously in 19, we had the 6.7% increase. We know that this year again it's just been absolutely devastating, particularly for the hospitality industry. And so, but there are some signs of optimism. Again, when I look at kind of how Texarkana compares, when you look at how the city itself has responded, you look at how the businesses have responded, have adapted very quickly, and we've really tried to help promote those new and innovative kind of dining options that folks have come up with. And we've really tried to continue to stay focused on, which was one of our main kind of points when we came on a couple of years ago, which was to really showcase the restaurant scene. And I think that we've been able to do that. And of course, I think, for me, I'm optimistic as we head into this new year, especially, as we know, as the COVID vaccine hopefully continues to get distributed at a fair pace, and then travel confidence continues to improve based on kind of some of the research that we're looking at. So those are all good signs. So I think, kind of with that, I'll turn it over to Mike, and I believe Krista will also be talking kind of about some of the social media specifically. We just wanted to turn that over to those folks. And then I'm happy to take any questions kind of after they run through that report, if that's okay with you all.
Okay, I heard nobody object, so I'm gonna be quick. So just for broad picture context, the main purpose of an advertising and promotion commission website is to kind of be the showcase storefront for destinations, restaurants, attractions, hotels, and try through marketing to get people interested in learning more about the restaurants, hotels, and attractions and events that a city has to offer to increase participation in those. And so when we look at website stats, that's kind of the context for a destination marketing website to begin with. So when we look at I'm going to have to move my little picture of all of you guys. There we go. You'll see that we had a big bump in traffic in sessions to the website in March as COVID restrictions began to get in place. We did a big social media campaign around what are the Texarkana restaurants offering in terms of curbside delivery, pickup type options, and there was obviously a lot of interest from folks in the area to get information related to that, which was the big bump there. We our sessions, our overall sessions right here at 20,000, that is down about 9,000 total sessions from 2019. The interesting part of this, though, is that in 2019, about 13,700 sessions on your website were the result of paid advertising. And so in 2020, we did not do any paid advertising, and yet we lost 9,000 versus the whole 13,700 sessions that we paid for, in essence, in 2019. Which means that sessions from the non-paying sources actually increased by about 4,000 year over year. This gives you more of the comparisons. The left column over there is users, new users, sessions, page views, the number of pages per session, all being down. But then you look over to the right, and direct traffic up 10%, organic search traffic up 75, social traffic up 22, referral traffic up 34, and paid advertising traffic, as you would expect, you didn't spend any money, was down 100%. I think we had a couple of, I think it was actually 99.97. There were a couple of lingering paid ads that I think hit on January the 1st that had already been paid for. Then when you look at the traffic by channel, social media is the primary driver of our website traffic. And so when I shut up in just a second, Krista, who runs social media for our Texarkana, is going to give you some insights into the social media, and she's going to do that a lot better than I could. So I'm going to shut up and move on to the next. The website user stats, the majority of our traffic is what is new users, new visitors, which is always good. And new visitors accounted for about 79% of our total sessions in 2020. Mobile continues to dominate. In 2019, 78% of all of our traffic came from mobile sources, and it ticked up a little bit to 80%. It is a little bit higher than most consumer-facing websites, but it's not surprising considering the product that we are promoting on our website, where most people are using their mobile devices when they're looking at things to do and places to go eat. So probably the most important slide on here is, where is our traffic coming from? And so over half of all of the sessions to the Texarkana website are coming from Texas side users. which is great for the Texarkana, Arkansas Advertising Promotion Commission and the Arkansas side businesses that we support. So we are being very successful, and we talked about this when we first responded to an RFP from the commission and talked about what our strategy would be. We talked about the fact that we felt like our primary goal was to do two things. And number one was to get more people from the Texas side to come eat, go to attractions, stay in hotels on the Arkansas side than they would without those promotions. And to get people on the Arkansas side to stay on the Arkansas side more when they go out to eat. And so when we look at Texarkana, Texas sessions being the number one source of traffic to our website, as well as New Boston, and I can't see that one below there. Texarkana, Texas, and New Boston being in our top 10, as well as Dallas, obviously. And the majority of the traffic is from around our area, and so that's folks that we are getting to come check out the restaurants and the attractions and the hotels that we have in the area. But I love seeing that the majority of them are coming from the Texas side. Website stats, looking at our top 10 pages, what content are our website visitors interested in? And as you can see, it's primarily restaurants and food scene. That the page that was built on the website where we gave people information about what Texarkana, Arkansas restaurants were offering in terms of curbside and delivery was constantly updated with new information as it would become available. And as you can see, it drove a lot of page views and a really strong 2 minutes and 50 seconds time on site. So that really became a resource for your Arkansas side restaurants to get information out to the community of how can you still purchase from us even during COVID restrictions. And so we feel like that was a very successful marketing campaign and effort that we had in 2020. And slide 9, user demographics, not real interesting. Our target audience does skew a little bit older. And social media. I'm gonna now, thankfully, don't everybody applaud, shut up, and let Krista kind of go into the social media side.
Okay. So just to kind of, I want to give sort of a big picture view of what our Texarkana social media channels really, what their role was in our 2020 kind of strategy for our Texarkana. So, like Mike mentioned, when the pandemic kind of first began and restaurants really had to shift what they were doing in order to serve people in a safe way or just to accommodate the restrictions, we really wanted to make our social media channels a very accessible and constantly updated resource for people in the area so that they could know that they could go to our page and they would be able to find the information they need when it comes to, oh, it's the weekend and I want to go out to eat, but I don't know, I have like this restaurant has their Facebook page where they're posting updates every day as things are changing. This restaurant has theirs. So we wanted it to be all in one place and easy to find and accessible. And so that was one of the big goals for our social media channels. Both Facebook and Instagram served that purpose. And that is, definitely one of the strengths that we found on our social media channels last year. And another one really was the messaging was all about supporting local. And we wanted to highlight the ways that people could still do that safely as we kind of came to grips with what this new normal looked like. in the beginning of COVID. And then as dining in kind of opened back up and things got back to what was a little bit more normal, we still wanted people to know, some of your favorite local restaurants, or, if you are from a surrounding city and you're going to come for a visit, this is the way to see Texarkana in a safe way. These are some outdoor activities you can do. These are some public art and murals and things that you can see. And then here's where you can grab a bite to eat. So, supporting local and how the community could kind of come together and really help each other to get through that time was two of the bigger messages and things that we think we really excelled at on social last year. So this slide just kind of gives you an overview of what the Facebook metrics looked like last year. So you'll see that the audience on Facebook is now at 8,290 Facebook likes. That was at the end of December, so it's actually gone up since that. But to give you a little bit of context on that, we created this page 2.5 years ago. And so I've gone through and compared to some similar sized cities in the state and their CVBs and tourism pages on Facebook. And many of those that are of a similar size to Texarkana are at half or fewer of the Facebook page likes, and they've been around for 5+, 7+ years in some cases. So to give you a little bit of context, that rate of growth and the rate that we have gotten that number of followers is really something to take note of. It's really good. And the engaged users, I wanted to draw your attention to that number. We had 108,894 users on Facebook who engaged with the Facebook page in some way. And so that could be liking, commenting, sharing posts with their friends. It could be sending someone a post about a restaurant in their Facebook Messenger. It could have been clicking on our website from the Facebook page. But in some way, those people found the Our Texarkana Facebook page and engaged with it, interacted with it. And so that was up, as you can see, 24% from the previous year, which is great. Even if we, without having done paid advertising, that paid reach you see is from boosting posts. We did any posts that were organic and performed really well and seemed to resonate with people. So, and I've pulled out a couple of the top posts from last year on Facebook, and I'll show you those in just a second. We boosted those well-performing posts to make sure that more people saw them and more people saw, okay, here's resources, like we said, of what you need to know and how to visit Texarkana safely right now. So even though, our reach and impressions were down from 2019, which was to be expected, engaged users still increased by 24%, which is really a great thing to note. People were finding our Facebook page and engaging with the post, meaning they were still finding that content relevant and timely. So that's just something to keep in mind. Mike, you can go to the next slide. So, we showed you where people, were from that visited the website. And this just shows you where the people are from who like the Facebook page. So as you can see, the number one place that people live that like the Facebook page is Texarkana, Texas side, and then the Arkansas side. And so those two together make up over half of the people that like the Facebook page. Everyone else, the other top 10, as you can see, are all from the surrounding areas. So we're definitely hitting, in addition to people going to the website, people who are like the page and therefore get all of our posts, or most of our posts, are from places that we really do want to see what we're sharing. So that's a great thing too. You can go to the next one. So here's the top post from 2020, which was, kind of an unexpected, it really took off in an unexpected way. So this was the very first post we did about B&Js Downtown Diner and Creamery. And just to announce that they were there so that people knew. We love to announce whenever there's a new restaurant that opens, so that people are aware and can visit it. And it reached 47,218 people, had over 1,800 engagements, was shared 242 times, which accounts for a ton of how that viral, how it kind of picked up virally in the area, and then had over 1,000 link clicks. So that was the best performing post of the entire year. And you can go to the next one, Mike. And then this is the second best one that performed the second best last year. It was our curbside and delivery blog post that we mentioned. So the one that got all those website visits as well, it performed really, really well on social media. It had 295 shares. So people were, and I didn't even get in the screenshot, but if you go to it on our Facebook page, you can see people commenting, talking about, okay, I know this place also has this, and this. So it's a great, it turned into I think we posted it in March. So this was still when things were very uncertain. People were very much like, I don't know what this place is offering. I don't know if this place is even open. And so this is that place where we had that all in one place and on our website so that people could check it out. And it turned into a place where the community kind of came together and was like, let's support these small businesses. And it got over 4,000 link clicks. So that drove a lot of traffic to the website, which is great. You can go to the next one, Mike. And so next we'll talk about Instagram. We got almost 1,400 new followers last year on the Instagram for a total of 4,206 at the end of the year. And you can see the number of likes and comments, almost 20,000 engagements throughout the year on our Instagram posts. The visit website number that has that star next to it, the 1,889, is something to take note of. It's up 86% from 2019. So again, people were, engaging with our posts on Instagram, but they weren't just kind of liking and passively leaving and forgetting. They were clicking through to the website to learn more information about the commission and the tourism opportunities and restaurants. A big driver of that, again, was that blog post that we've kept bringing up. So I'll talk about that in just a second. You can go to the next slide, Mike. So we used a different photo for it on Instagram, but this was the number one post on Instagram last year was the curbside and delivery blog post. So you can see it reached 41,000 people, which is actually more than it reached on Facebook, which is interesting. And got 715 engagements, 70,000 impressions. And I wrote down how many clicks. I didn't put it on the slide, but it got 683 website clicks. So of that 1,800, 600, almost 700 of them came from this post alone, people going to the website to check out this blog post so they could figure out how to support restaurants in the area. So that was our best performing one. And then just like on Facebook, this was the second best performing one. It was a carousel post with several photos of the B&Js downtown diner, just kind of announcing that was open. And so again, over 500 engagements, 20,000 people reached, 47,000 impressions. And again, I couldn't really capture it in one screenshot, but lots of comments of people just really excited to see this restaurant and go visit it, saying, I haven't been there yet, I got to go check it out. So again, we just, I think social media, even without having the paid advertising that we, like Drew mentioned, had in 2019, we really saw a lot of engagement on Facebook and Instagram. People were still very much excited about the content that we were sharing, and we're very much looking for ways to continue to support the businesses that they love and make sure that they stayed open despite what was going on, and find ways to support each other. So it was a great year on the social media channels for supporting local and building that community there. And yeah, I'll let Drew kind of answer any questions if anyone has questions on the slideshow.
I'm going to add one thing real quick, is I think Krista's done a real good job this year, as demonstrated by these stats. When you consider that in previous years, the primary driver of a lot of our social media engagement and traffic was when we would release a new video featuring a restaurant and the restaurant owner stories. And we didn't have any of those in 2020. We didn't produce any new videos of new restaurants in 2020 because of COVID restrictions and trying to be very mindful with the budget in a down year. And so despite not having what had been our primary drivers, we were still able to get really good results on the social media side. And that's a testament to Krista's expertise in this area. And now I'm going to shut up. Y'all have any questions?
I got a question. Do you receive any feedback from the local businesses as far as them perhaps doing climate survey about, you know, the I guess their foot traffic in relation to the hits and the likes that we receive from your graphs?
Maybe Sandy could answer that.
When we first did this and they started the spotlights on the businesses and the owner's story and the Pops thing, I could tell when we had cycled back in, you could tell in the restaurant we would have an uptick of people coming from Magnolia, from Hope, from wherever, and say, well, we saw this place on Facebook and we thought we'd come try it out. And we had seen an uptick in those when we were the one that was being featured. I mean, I can report that I've had other restaurants tell us the same thing when they were the feature, that they had a lot of new traffic.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I noticed the slides and the numbers are outstanding. Do the businesses, do they get a chance to see these numbers, that how effective you all are being with your presentations, with the advertising?
That is a fantastic question.
They know what they're getting for their 2%.
I'm afraid probably a lot of them don't. It's all available. It's all public. But it's the type of thing where you have to go get it, as opposed to it being sent out. And I think that's an excellent idea that we may need to work on a way to push that out instead of hoping that people will be pulled in to get it.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because I was thinking about how we can move forward, be a little bit more efficient as far as collecting. I know we don't have ordinance in place, but collecting the taxes, if there was some type of matrix in place that we're having some type of communication with them, with the effort that, we're just showing them exactly this is what's happening, and just wanting them to feel more vibrant about paying those taxes, because they can really see what they're getting.
I know, and for instance, with the Fayetteville Advertising and Promotion Commission, which is a client of ours, we do a community report at the end of every year, and the A&P staff has I think a monthly newsletter, e-newsletter that they send out to hotel owners and managers and restaurant owners and managers. Part of the challenge is for the Texarkana Advertising and Promotion Commission, there's no staff.
Gotcha. So everyone on here is pro bono, right?
Well, there's just,
I'm just asking.
I mean,
that's where
for us to do it, then it costs money.
Gotcha,
and I know in the past, and Drew, you might be able to speak to this, we have had in our budget a couple of years, and I don't think it ever actually got executed, was to do an ad in the local newspaper with kind of an annual report back to the community of here's what the A&P Commission spent the tax dollars on in the past year, and here's the results that we got. And so we've talked about it, but it has not been executed. And I think you're making an excellent point. Drew, you're on mute.
And I think what has happened, that these reports kind of, in a way, kind of became the community report. But Mike, I agree that we can definitely, look at doing something like that. And of course, I mean, I'm more than happy to make myself available if we wanted to do something where we, could talk with the business owners directly. Happy to make myself available, and we've tried to, even on when we do the social posts and stuff, to ask folks to reach out to us and let us know, because we are trying to make sure we're getting the accurate information out there and doing the best promotion we can of the businesses. And so we are asking folks to engage with us. So I think that's a great idea, and I would be more than happy to help with any sort of how we could explore that to make that happen.
Well, I'm willing to be a team player. If we can put the honey out there and pull them in some type of way, because I'm looking at this list right here. The links don't really help any of us. So.
Are there any other questions for the sales agency?
I do have one question, if I might.
I don't know who that is, but
This is Stephen Hollabush.
okay.
So in 2019, you did boosted post and actually had promotions on social media that were paid advertisement, is that my understanding? And we didn't do any in 2020?
We did boosted post. We boosted organic post in 2020 to the tune of, what was the budget, Drew?
$5,000 for the year.
For the year. What we did not do in 2020 was use Facebook as an advertising venue to run ads on there versus boosting organic post. And then we also, in 2019, we did display geo-targeted display advertising on mobile devices, desktop, laptops, and tablets, and some of that was display advertising, and we also did online video advertising. Again, geo-targeted.
So what would be the difference in the numbers as far as like advertising dollars spent in 2019 versus 2020?
Okay, hang on. I'm so sorry. My phone just rang and I lost the second half of your question.
What would be the difference in the advertising dollars spent in 2019 versus 2020?
I think for the paid media, it would maybe, let's see here, it would be $40,000.
That would be the difference?
For the paid media, yes, because it was 45 was allotted this year. We used 5 of that for the social media, and so it'd be 40,000 would be the difference.
No, I'm saying, what is the difference between the advertising dollars spent in 2019 versus 2020?
And you're saying the advertising dollars, meaning the media that was purchased in 2019 but not purchased in 2020?
Yes.
$40,000.
So we spent $40,000 more in 2019 than we did in 2020 for advertising.
That's correct.
Okay, how much have we paid your agency in both of those years?
Let's see.
I believe it's $130,000 for both years.
Well, but then it would not be paid to the agency, yes, but of course the 40,000 in media, that does not come to us as far as in full. So there's a commission, a media buying percentage, but the majority of that actually then goes to the buying the actual media itself.
But Drew,
So what we pay for
And- and-
advertising is above and beyond what we pay your agency? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, you're talking about the media commission, the standard agency media commission.
no, Drew, I think y'all are talking about different things.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry, I guess I misunderstand.
the, we had a total, approved budget for 2020 of $140,000. That's not what we have spent in 2020. And there, Drew, what's the portion of the approved 2020 budget that is being shifted forward?
Tyranda, correct me, but I believe that the rollover is $70,067. So over $70,000 would roll over.
So over half of the approved budget for 2020 was not spent because collections were down, COVID was here, and decisions were made not to spend that money in 2020.
Okay. I understand that. And one more question. The website, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, who owns the rights to that? Is that your advertising agency that owns that, or does the A&P Commission own that?
We are an agent that acts on your behalf, and so we probably on the website, because again, there's no A&P staff. We probably went and bought it for you, but since we act as your agent, you own it. And anytime we do work for our clients, as far as we're concerned, our clients own the work and the property. We're not like those photographers and other people who do the work and say, I own it because I'm the creative person that did it, and you have to pay me to be able to use it.
Yeah, and Mike, I recall that was one of my questions when we first hired y'all.
Right. That's you can't do business like that in Arkansas.
And I think that was the reason, Mike, that we had people that were, that had pictures of their stuff, but we decided to go ahead and let the sales agency take our own pictures. That way we would always own those.
Right.
It's the way I'm remembering that.
Did that answer your question, Mr. Hollybush?
It did. And so how long have we had this, our Texarkana website up and running, the Facebook page?
3.5 years, I believe. Is that right, Drew? Or 2.5? 2.5.
2.5.
2.5. We were hired about 3 years ago, approximately 3 years ago, and that's when we started building the website and building the social media properties. And so they were launched in the middle of the year in 2018.
All right. Is there any reason why we went with a separate website and Facebook page than like going through the city? Because it makes more sense to me that if I'm searching something, it's going to take me some effort to find our Texarkana versus searching Texarkana, Arkansas, and finding it through the city's existing platforms.
Well, primarily for SEO purposes, because if we were to have a website that was part of the city's website, then the way Google is going to index that website, the A&P would end up with some pages deep inside a website that Google in its indexing is going to say that's a governmental website. And so when people are searching for things to do in Texarkana, if we were pages inside of a bigger website, they're going to be less likely to find our website because of the way Google indexes. And so kind of best practices for Convention and Visitors Bureau, tourism bureaus, and A&P commissions is to be represented on their city government website, but to have their consumer-facing website be separate so that people can find the content they're looking for.
Okay, Tyronda, do we have an action item here for the sales agency, or is this just a report?
No, sir, we need to approve their new contract, the 2021.
That's what I thought. Josh, have you reviewed that contract?
Yes, I have.
And is it same or similar to what we've done in the past years? I'm sorry, did you hear me?
I think he froze.
Yeah,
Oh,
y'all
okay.
froze too.
My question was whether the contract was the same as it has been in the years past, or.
Yes, it is. Yes.
The main difference in this contract is it is primarily funded. It's primarily funded with rollover funds as opposed to new.
And I will point out that the sales agency helped us. I don't want to get this figure wrong, but I think it was about $16,000 back from through the CARES Act, and that was the efforts of the sales agency that helped us get that money back.
That is correct.
Man, and was that a fire drill or what?
I didn't have very much involvement in it.
Would we have around 48 hours to put all that together?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I have a question for Mike.
Yes, sir.
What is SEO, Sierra Echo Oscar?
Oh, sorry. Search engine optimization.
Roger, okay, thank you. And how many businesses do we have listed for Arkansas, or for Texarkana?
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Drew,
'Cause
I may kick that to you. One of the things you were commenting earlier on the report you were looking at
yeah,
that shall not be mentioned in public. And so
gotcha.
it is a constantly evolving number from restaurants that are open or closing or going on or going off of that list.
Hmm. And as far as the ones that are coming on, do we, I guess, for as real-time occupancy, to be able to collect those monies as soon as possible?
They don't do collection.
Oh, all right.
That's a Josh question.
Oh, got you. That's right. Yeah, Josh. All right, got it. Sorry about that, Mike.
I wish I could.
All right.
You want me to answer that, Director Brewer?
Yes, please.
And you said something about occupancy?
Yes, as Michael was stating there about the businesses starting, stopping, coming, going, do we have like a real time when they occupy to know that we're ready to collect tax on them?
I think he's
Versus,
talking about the certificate of occupancy when they open.
Yeah, when they open and they get their documentation from the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, they are given information with regard to the A&P tax, how to pay, when to pay, it's late, and you're going to be collected on.
well,
We do not, as opposed to a lot of other cities in Arkansas, our city ordinance and our collection procedure does not allow us to pull anybody's occupancy for failure to pay. That was not, the board did not pass that part of the collection ordinance. I think other cities have an A&P permit that they are issued when they open. And if they fall behind so much on their delinquent taxes, the A&P commission can pull their permit. That is not what we do. So we maintain our collection procedures without occupancy or permits or anything like that.
All right. So I think I understand that once they get their certificate of occupancy, it don't automatically populate to the A&P that we know simultaneously, that they're occupying. And I guess we're waiting on, I guess, with their good faith, being good faith brokers, that they know the procedures to go ahead and pay their.
And in the past year, I think Mike was correct. You would have a business open. I mean, we had a business or a handful open, run a couple of weeks and shut down. We didn't know. We didn't even know they were, soft opening, whatever. So it's been a task to determine that, but that's the only way we do it. Now that they're required to file documentation with the city with regards to gross receipts, so everybody can calculate the tax owed.
Yes, we've implemented some internal procedures that we've been using for the past couple of years to try to close the gap on missing out on any businesses when they open. So we have been working on that with our Public Works Department, between Public Works and Finance, to make sure that we can try to stay on top of as many of those as possible.
Is there anything in place as far as for these collections, as far as sanctions or anything?
Sanctions, how do you mean?
Meaning that the delinquency, are they allowed to be delinquent 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years?
No, there's interest, unpaid interest, and yeah, that's it.
Is this list always this long?
Yes.
I'm just, I'm a new guy. I'm just trying to find out. It's like 3 pages.
You're preaching to the choir up here.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to walk on these ashes, just, these hot coals just for a second, because I don't know,
And I'm going to remind y'all again one more time, we're not asking them to pay a tax.
Right.
Yes.
We are asking them to remit a tax that they collected. And when they open,
Correct.
they agree to collect that tax, and then they're responsible for remitting it.
Yes.
That's correct.
And that is important distinction.
Yeah, that's.
Commissioner Cogburn,
Yes.
can I ask that in light of the sales agency and everybody else's time, if we go ahead and do the agenda item, we can address delinquent A&P later in the agenda?
Yes, certainly. And I'm open to a motion if there is one. I thought that's what you were going to do.
Well, at this point, I would enter a motion to approve the budget that is included in our packet from the sales agency for 2021.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right. Been a motion and second to approve the sales agency budget for 2021. Is there any other discussion amongst the commission or question? If not, Rhonda, would you call the roll, please?
Brewer,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Cogburn.
Yes.
The motion carries 3-0.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is reallocation of 2020 funds for, I'm sorry?
I was just saying bye to the sales agency. I don't imagine they're going to stick around.
Well,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
very quickly, thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Okay, so anyway, next on the agenda is reallocation of 2020 funds that I think should move a little quicker than what we've done so far this evening. First one up is the Four States Auto Museum. And these are all funds that they didn't spend in 2020, mostly probably because of COVID or their events were canceled, that they just want to carry over to 2021. The money's already been allocated.
Are there representatives from those agencies with us, Tyrona?
Yes, I want to say Jim Christensen.
I think I saw
Yes.
Jim on the.
He's muted. Jim, can you unmute yourself?
We go. Okay.
There he goes.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm here.
Are you from the Four States Auto Museum?
I'm the president of the board of the museum.
Okay, and you're asking for the funds that were allocated in 2020 or a portion of those to be reallocated to 2021. Do you know the amount?
It's
I
about
don't.
$4,200.
Okay,
Okay, that's
there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a
That
second?
it be reallocated to 2021.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any questions for Mr. Jim?
Yes, as far as the monies that's going back to the museum,
It doesn't actually go back to the museum. So the way it happens
Right.
is that we allocate these funds and then they have to spend the money and bring receipts into Tyranda that they were for what we approved. And if the receipts are adequate, then Tyranda reimburses them.
oh, okay,
They'll hang on to that money.
thanks,
You bet.
yeah. We're totally
thanks.
we're a 501(c) and not for profit. No one is compensated for their time. It's all volunteer.
Yeah.
Just so that you know.
And is this for promoting one of the car shows, Jim? Is that?
Yeah, we have 2 car shows, one in the spring and in the fall. And if you've got my letter there, we were unable to have the spring show, and then we had our fall show was greatly diminished, but we
Sure.
were able to have it. We didn't do the normal things that we would normally do to actually raise funds, but we just didn't want to. Since the opportunity was there, we wanted to go ahead and have something for the people, and so.
If there are any other questions from the commission, if not, there's been a motion and a second. Tyrone, would you call the roll?
Brewer,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Cogburn.
Yes.
The motion carries 3-0.
Okay, the next up on the agenda is Texarkana Arts and Historic Committee, the same issue here as before. Who is here from Texarkana Arts and Historic? Anybody?
Yes, David Orr and I'm Mary Beck. We're here.
Okay, I got y'all right there. And David, what is this reallocation for?
So this is for the courthouse initiative that was a partnership with Texarkana, Texas and Texarkana, Arkansas. And this began in October. We've been working quite a bit with Tyler and his crews. And of course, our contractor has been doing a great job of tearing things up down at the courthouse. And so
you're talking about the federal courthouse, just for
the federal courthouse. That's correct. Yep. And we have a lot of this already sort of paid. It's just a matter of invoicing. And as y'all know, both cities and other entities were hit with a cyber attack in December. And so we were just about ready to invoice a majority of what was awarded, which was $30,000 in work. And so we have a few outstanding items that we do have out for bid that we talked about, the welcome kiosk being one of those. And I think some of the wayfinding signage, but we should have everything finished up. The project's slated to be completed by March. So I would anticipate we'd have all the invoices in by April of this year to close out the project. So we're just requesting an extension on behalf of the Arts and Historic District for this joint project.
Okay, with that explanation, is there a motion?
What was the amount that was going back to?
30, I think.
About $27,000.
27.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a motion?
The reallocation goes back to the Texarkana Arts and Historic Committee.
Okay, I'll second that.
I think the reallocation would be to reallocate it though for 2021 from 2020.
Yes, 2021.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any other questions from the commission? If not, Tyrone, will you call the roll?
Brewer,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Cogburn.
Yes.
The motion carries 3-0.
Next up is the another same issue, this time from Texarkana Chamber of Commerce for reallocation of 2020 funds to 2021. Is anyone here from the chamber?
I'm here.
I see Mike. There you are. I have to scroll through to get you, but then I go over there and then now you're on the first page. All right, Mike, could you briefly explain to us what these funds are? And
There continues some marketing advertising dollars that we do here with the local business and partnerships. We feel going into 2021, we're going to see another resurgence of attendance, family reunions, even getting past the COVID, working with hotels and restaurants. We put out guides to assist them that we distribute out to the community. And we're, as Mike and them said earlier, we've added restaurants to the community, and we need to get on that and continue our paper products that we market for the community out there, as well as we leverage the dollars with the Texas side too, to take more magazine articles and not articles, but magazine advertisements for such groups as motorcycle magazine and fishing magazines and this sort of thing. And we were working too to bring in a fishing tournament that's coming up. None of these dollars necessarily connect to the fishing tournament, but they help market the area, which is going to drive more heads and beds and more restaurants being filled by outsiders, which that's our goal, bring outside money into town instead of us locals eating all the restaurants. It's good that they do, but we want to have some outside dollars. So it's just a carryover. You're going to ask me how much it is. I don't know, Tyranda, you're going to have to share that amount.
It's about $6,700.
67, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
all right, with that explanation, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion
Second.
to reallocate those funds to 2021.
All right, it's been a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion amongst the commission? If not, Tyranda, will you call the roll, please?
Brewer,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Cogburn.
Yes.
The motion carries 3-0.
Brandon, I want to thank the committee for doing that. We'll continue our work to help you. You got
Thank
it.
you, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the next,
Commissioner
oh,
Cogburn?
yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry, but before we go to delinquent taxes, there's one other gentleman here. He's with the Marine Corps, and he's asking for the same thing, the reallocation of the 2020 funds.
Okay.
Since there was extensive discussion on delinquent taxes, I didn't know if you wanted to go ahead and see him now or put him under
Yeah.
other.
Now let's see him now.
Okay.
Who is he?
I'm a little less familiar with him.
Can we do that since it's not on the agenda?
Yes, he can be added under other business. In Arkansas, you can amend the agenda.
Okay.
I have an updated agenda with it.
Let's see.
You do have an updated agenda with it?
Yeah, I have an updated agenda showing the Marine Corps.
Rachel, do you know his name?
His name is Larry Wakefield.
Mr. Wakefield, are you available?
I don't see a user with that name, so I'm not sure if he's under just user.
I see just a plain user, but I don't see that name.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Okay, so Tyranda, he is actually on the agenda already?
He was on the agenda at first, but then there was some miscommunication with the cyber attack. It has us all kind of scrambling, so I do apologize. So he got removed, but he's here.
Yes, I'm here.
Original
So-
agenda that was sent to you.
Yes, I'm here. So similar request, and that is that the unused portion of our 2020 allocation be rolled over to 2021. And again, that was in support of the Marine Corps League State Department of Arkansas convention to be held in May at the Arkansas Convention Center.
And was that canceled because of COVID?
Yes, it was.
Okay, Tyranda, how much money are we talking about here?
$750.
Okay, $750. Do I hear a motion?
Absolutely.
All right.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion second. Any other questions? If not, Tyranda, you call roll.
Brewer,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Cogburn.
Yes.
The vote carries 3-0.
All right, next item on the agenda is the delinquent A&P taxes, which we have already had some discussion on. Is there any other discussion from the commission? I don't know that this is an action item, but we always have delinquent A&P taxes on the agenda. That way we can always discuss it. And I would remind the commission not to mention specific names or amounts because of Arkansas FOI laws.
Are you directing that at me, Commissioner Cogburn?
No, ma'am.
Josh, are you still on?
Yes, I'm here, and I've got some announcements, I guess, that I can make.
I would love to hear them. Thank you.
I have got a certificate that needs to be signed by the new chairman, and I will have plenty more in the next few weeks. Since in the past 24 hours, I have learned that, or got information that 3 of the businesses on the list have paid in full or are paying in full. I haven't verified that with Tyronda or the finance department, but I will do so.
Okay.
Hopefully tomorrow. Other than that, that's all I have for right now.
Okay, that's very good news. And
that is good news.
I'll get with you to sign those maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, it's sitting on my desk. I'll get with you on a date that you can stop by, or I can come by and have you sign it, and we'll get it filed.
Okay, and as a clarification, Josh, once those certificates of indebtedness have been filed, they become public record. Is that correct?
They are on file at the courthouse, and that is correct.
Okay, and that then exempts them from, we can't mention their name, then we can after that certificate has been filed. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct, as with every other public document filed in that office.
Okay. That's good news, Josh. Is there any other discussion about delinquent A&P taxes?
So how do we take these 3 pages down to 0?
Well, so there are a few that have been on there forever. There's one that I think needs to be removed anyway. And with that, I can't describe it to you now, or I think everybody would realize who it is.
What number is it on that list?
I'm only going off the December 2nd list. I haven't gotten any more lists, but it's 7, number 7 on page 1. And I can't get into it, but there's a legal reason.
Gotcha.
And a few more. I mean, we're gonna be taking at least 4 off, but
some of those that have been closed for 2 or 3 years, we'll never be able to collect that.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's just like any other collection. You've got to collect it.
Yeah.
Keep it on the books just in case.
But the ones that are active, that are operational, that's more likely to collect.
Do we have like I guess whatever agreement we have with the businesses, is it easier to just collect the monies through the IRS when they do their taxes, so we don't have to?
No. Short answer is no.
All right.
Again, I think it also goes back to the ordinance that the city board passed. We originally put forth a different city ordinance that followed the Department of Finance and Administration tax collection procedures. But the board basically said that it's anti-business to enact collection procedures like that. since we're on a border city and didn't want restaurants going to Texas. So that would be possible if we pass that ordinance.
So in the meantime, we tolerate.
Well, we do what we can with the collection procedures we've got.
All right.
And Commissioner Brewer, it is not for lack of wanting to from the A&P Commission. It's just that we have had resistance of support of that in previous city councils that passed that ordinance. I mean, that was some time ago. That was even before me. There's no teeth in our ordinance, if you'll.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's something we have to visit and kick around and see what we can come up with. But it'd be definitely something to make us more efficient moving forward. If we do have some matrix in there like that, ordinance that can help. But
I agree.
I'll agree with that, and I'm all about trying to get these businesses to remit the taxes that they have already collected.
Won't be easy, but it's something to consider.
And I think, we only meet every so often, and Mike always says that. And I think the general public and probably a lot of restaurants owners, I think they believe that, if you sell $20 worth of food, you've got to give them, the 2% is 40 cents. So this is not coming out of their pocket. When they run their receipt, they have to add the 40 cents on. So, it's not coming out of their pocket. They are merely holding on to it until they remit it to us. And I think that gets lost, probably more so by the general public. But I like to harp on that every time it comes up.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, is there any other discussion about delinquent taxes?
No, perhaps we can continue to work this this monster.
Get it down. That would be nice.
It'll get smaller.
Yeah.
All right. If there's not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Is there a second? All right, Rhonda, will you call the roll, please?
Brewer,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Cogburn.
Yes.
The meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thank you all very much.